رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن الدائم على أعدائهم أجمعين. Inshallah, I'll try to end by 9:20, 9:25 so that we can go down for Matam, inshallah. So, we were talking about, it was an introduction actually, to this whole topic of death. Death. There's still some other stuff I want to talk about. It was very important, this Islamic worldview that I said. Okay, this is very, very key. It sets everything, puts everything into perspective to have that Islamic worldview. And as I said, sometimes it's not enough to have that Islamic worldview. You need to strengthen it sometimes. That's where this topic comes in. This topic strengthens it. When you sit down and think a little bit, think about, it's going to end, but at the end of the day, I know that there will be a day that everything will be over. Just the other day, we were passing by with the brother, and he said that this is Henry Ford's house, his mansion. It's somewhere in the hills in Michigan, somewhere, Dearborn. I was like, really? It's like a museum now. He said, yeah, it's a museum. Okay, that's it. Period. He didn't take any of it with him. So, doesn't that put things into perspective? Yes, it does. His mansion is so cool. I don't know, I haven't seen it, but apparently it's so cool that it's a museum now. But was it worth it for him? We don't know. I don't think if you ask him right now, he'll say it was worth it. Islamic worldview fixes all of that. And then sometimes it solves our problems too. I said this yesterday too. Why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? Oh, I like straight hair, not curly hair. Why didn't Allah give me straight hair? Why didn't Allah give me curly hair? Because I have straight hair. Why am I not tall? Why am I short? Why do I have glasses? All this. Well, listen. Why am I not as good looking as somebody else? They say Prophet Yusuf, yeah, he was good looking. And when Zulaykha came, she started praising his appearance. He said, listen, this, when it goes in the grave, is going to change. The good smell is going to be a stench. Okay? They say when you go in the grave, the first thing that separates from your body is the hair. The hair, which is like the sign of, it's like beauty. Right? Fix my hair. So, it sets things into perspective. It lets you know that, listen, if you're not as good looking as somebody else, if you're not as tall as somebody else, if you don't have the skills of somebody else, it's like a dollar bill. What do I mean? If someone gives you a crumpled $100 bill, you get upset? You gave me a crumpled $100 bill, you gave my brother or sister a better $100 bill. The answer is they both have the same buying power, right? But that means you can buy akhirah with this soul that Allah has given you. Who cares if you're tall, short, don't look as good as the other guy or the other girl? I don't know, straight hair, curly hair. Who cares? Because what counts, Islamic worldview comes in. He says, what counts, you're all equal in. You all have the same buying power. That's what counts. This is why I like Pakistani majalis. They let you know that they're listening. Risale Salawat. Inna akramakum indallah atqakum. Okay? Whoever has that taqwa, whoever listens to Allah more, okay, they're closer to Allah. It's not about all the other stuff. So listen, always keep this example in mind. You have the buying power. Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says that you were created for Jannah. Do not be satisfied with less than Jannah, brothers and sisters. Don't be satisfied. That's your worth. Right? We all can buy Jannah. Who cares if I'm a little bit, the corner of this dollar bill is a little crumpled, or that one is straighter? Who cares about that? We look at the buying power. But if you don't have the proper worldview, that means that what? That means that this dollar bill, all I see of it is the appearance. I don't look at the buying power because I don't have the worldview for it. I don't know that this is going to have buying power later. Right? That's when I fall. That's when I mess up. That's when I give up. I lose hope. That's when I try my best to do everything I can in this world. Worldview fixes everything. Moving onward. This is stuff I talked about last night. Now, talking about death a little bit, sometimes will come up to you and say, why do you talk about death? Once again, they don't have the proper worldview. Death entails depression. Makes us lose hope in the future because we know we're going to die, right? When you talk about it, I lose hope. I give up on life. Seriously, who likes to go and sit in the graveyard and just look at the graves? No one. Because when you go look, you lose hope. You see what your future is going to be like, what's going to be happening a few years down the road, and you're like, okay, I just don't want to have anything to do with that. But this worldview says, yes, if it ends there, then yes, you have every right to be upset. And every right to say, let's not even talk about it. Because that will make us depressed. Make us lose our motivation. Because we know that's the end of the line. So let's not even work hard in our life. Let's give up. And this person who says this has every right to say it. Remember yesterday I said, if someone else doesn't have the proper worldview, you can't debate with them. You can't discuss with them anything. Because you don't have that, you don't share the base to start with. Right? So you forget about that. This person says, oh, this is depressing. Don't talk about it. Okay, why not? Because we lose motivation. You say, oh, that's why. Because you look at it as the end of the line. We see it as the beginning. We actually gain motivation. It's so cool. We gain motivation. Everything is set straight. It is adjusted. Everything is put into perspective when we look at it like that. Actually, it brings liveliness. It brings happiness. That person was born into a rich family. I wasn't born into a rich family. But I know that on the other side it's different. It gives me hope, actually. Who says? Those people who have summarized everything to this life, they're the ones who lack. They're the ones who are weak. We're strong, alhamdulillah. Which brings us to a couple answers to this whole depression dilemma that we have. First of all, okay, these are youth, right? These are young people. We're talking about death, right? Yeah. Do you love your son or daughter? Yes, I do. Okay. Since you love your son or daughter, do you encourage them to go study hard so that they can have a good job, so they have a good future, so they won't be hurt later? Yes. Okay. Do you also agree that there's going to be a time when your son or daughter will pass away? Yes. Sometime, inshallah, 100 years from now. Well, that also, do you not think that they should build it? Yes, they should. Then what? Then why are you so upset? Why depression? Same reason why you tell them to go and study hard. You have to tell them to go and be religious all hard. That's number one. So when we talk about it, we're actually helping out here. Why the frown? Ayatollah Shirazi, another Shirazi, not the ones that are alive today, one of the greats that has passed away years ago, they went up to him, they said to him, if you know for a fact that you're going to die in a week, what would you do? If someone knows that they're going to die in a week, what would you do? Think about it. Sometimes if you think about things, 2 minutes, 10 minutes, sit down and think. There's a hadith that says, تفكر عبادة تفكر الساعة خير من 70 سنة خير من عبادة 70 سنة. Sitting and thinking for a little bit sometimes is more important than the worship of 70 years. Because it builds the foundations for worship. This sitting down and think. They say Salman al-Miqdad, I don't know, I doubt, I'm hesitant to say which one. They say that, the Imams say that his greatest ibadah was that he would think, tafakkur. He would sit and think. Ponder over things. Sit down and think. If I'm going to be here only for a week, what would I do? That's what they asked this great Ayatollah. What did he say in return? He said, I'll do the same thing I've always been doing. It shows that from his youth, he's set it straight. He knows what he's supposed to do, and he's doing it. Right? That's the level we want to get to. It starts from youth. When people get older, it's so hard to change them. I've spoken to people, they come up to you and say, okay, I have this problem, I have that problem. Okay, I say, okay, listen, you have to, for example, you have to put this haram thing aside, brother. That's the answer to it. You have to put this haram thing aside to it. What does he say to me? He says, well, tell me how to put it aside. How do I tell you, don't do it? I mean, like, you just don't do it anymore. I mean, what do you mean? Tell me how to not do it. You make a decision and you don't do it. Bismillah. Right? He says, no, I can't. It's too hard for me. I'm used to it. It's a habit now. It's a habit. It's like the Play-Doh. You know, growing up, I hated it. I loved Play-Doh, right? When I was a kid, I loved Play-Doh. But you know what I hated? When you were done playing with the Play-Doh, if you wouldn't put it right back in its container, man, right there, it would get all stiff and hard. It would crumble. You couldn't use it anymore. Play-Doh was always going hard. I don't know if this was like 30 years ago. Well, no, not 30. This is like 25, 24 years ago. I don't know if Play-Doh has changed or not. But, because everything's changed like over these years that I haven't been here. But back in that day, Play-Doh, when it would age, when it would get older, it would become like stone. You couldn't shape it anymore. If we're going to shape ourselves, it's going to happen at this age, except for the brothers in the back. Recite salawat. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad. No, they say that, I said this somewhere else too, they are also the young ones of their generation. So, but seriously, brothers and sisters, I'm personally I'm in between. Like, I'm not old, but I'm not young anymore. So I feel it coming. Things get harder and harder as you grow. Now's the time. To fix up those habits. Anyway, and a good story for that, of how old people don't change, is a very nice story. Harun al-Rashid, la'natullah alayh. And it's interesting, these khulafa sometimes, they were bad people. Sometimes they would get this spiritual high sometimes. All of a sudden he gets all spiritual. Some of them would even sit down and when they would speak with the imams, they would cry. Because of the words that they would say, the nur that would come out of the mouths of these imams, they would cry. But that same Khalifa later on would kill this imam. It's interesting. But anyway, nur is nur. So when he hears it, he cries. Sometimes, they get this spiritual high. Harun al-Rashid, apparently once he got this spiritual high. And he said, I want to search the land. Find me a person who was a companion of Rasulullah directly. I don't want any mediums here. I don't want any proxies. I want someone who saw the Prophet himself, and I want you to bring him to me, and for him to relate a hadith that he heard directly from the Prophet. Okay? It's cool. Like right now we see people who have, for example, seen Ayatollah Bachit. Ayatollah Bachit passed away. Right? I'm happy and honored that I saw Ayatollah Bachit myself. But then when I look and I see some people saw Ayatollah Mar'ashi Najafi, I never saw him. Some people had seen Imam Khomeini, I never saw him in person. Never heard him speak. You feel bad. You're like, those who saw him, they're so lucky. Harun al-Rashid, he feels that That spiritual high says, oh, I want to see somebody who has seen the Prophet himself, because he's living more than maybe 100 years after the Prophet. Close to 100 years maybe, something around that neighborhood. They search and search and search. Apparently in Medina, if I'm not mistaken, they find somebody who had seen the Prophet himself. He's very old, 100 plus years old. They bring him to the Khalifa. The Khalifa was in some other city, I think Baghdad back then. They bring him to Harun al-Rashid. They put him in a basket. He can't walk. They put him in a basket, like, Happy Easter's Day. So they bring him to Harun al-Rashid. Harun al-Rashid says, relate to me a hadith that you heard from the Prophet yourself. He says, I have one hadith from the Prophet that I will mention. And that is that the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said that when a person gets older and older, two characteristics in that person become younger and younger. It's interesting. The wording is interesting. This person, as he gets older, two traits get younger and younger. They get stronger and stronger. This is an example of what I'm trying to say here. And we got to start working from now. One is greed, two is far-fetched dreams. Far-fetched wishes and hopes that they have. These two get younger and younger and more powerful in this person that's getting older and older. Now, what's interesting is Harun al-Rashid is very happy. He rejoices and he says, give this man a sack of gold coins in return of this hadith that he mentioned for us. Beautiful hadith. Thank you. That is the cool part. They give him a bag of money. They turn the basket around and they start taking him out. Towards the door, when they reach the door, it's so funny. The man turns back. This old man, 100 plus years old. He's like dying already. He might be dead. We don't know. Already. In that distance from the Khalifa to the door, he could have died. He turns back. He says, by the way, this bag of money that you gave me, is it on a monthly basis? Is it going to be on a monthly basis? Or it's just this one time? And Harun al-Rashid, he says, dude, you're dying already. What are you talking about? The Prophet was right. Greed grows, and these far-fetched dreams. Look at that. You're asking for this. So, these two get strong. Other things you can't change in an old person. That's why we start from now. And our mission is to try to understand this death more, better. When you understand something, you don't fear it anymore as much as you would before, because you don't know. Okay? People fear death. Non-Muslims fear death because they don't know what's happening on the other side. It's funny, I was watching this documentary and they were interviewing this lady who had lost her son in the war on Iraq after 9/11. And they're asking her, where did your son die? He died like in a helicopter or whatever. Where? In Iraq. Where in Iraq? She was so upset. She said he died in Karbala. The American soldier, they had shot him in Karbala, and she was very upset. Okay, this is a non-Muslim. Why are non-Muslims afraid? Why are they upset about it? They don't know what's happening on the other side. If they knew, or if we knew, we wouldn't fear it so much. Recite salawat. So let's not say this anymore. Oh, this is depressing. Oh, this is our kids might get upset or whatever. No, we just want to know what it's all about, because even your kid that's 12 years old knows that it's going to happen. And just know what it's all about. It's an interesting hadith. Let me read for you. The Prophet, he says, listen, you want a worldview? You want me to give you a worldview? Lidu lil maut wabnu lil kharabi. Have kids. Have kids for death. And build buildings, build houses for what? For destruction. He's letting you know the end of it. Right? Who's he telling this? He's telling all of us. It's for us. When you have children, yes, it's very good. But listen, that's the end of it, the Prophet is saying. So start from now, inshallah. Alright, now what's important is to address now, we want to start getting a little practical. This fear of death, why it exactly happens. Now there's a list here, inshallah. 1, 2, 3. Those of you taking notes, you know, when someone writes on the board 1, 2, 3, everyone's happy because that's what they write down in their book, in their notebook. Okay. When you go to Hawza, the first year, the teachers there, the instructors, they'll write on the whiteboard, or on the chalkboard. Back then it wasn't whiteboard, it's chalkboard. They will write on there the graphs, diagrams and stuff. You're writing down everything. And you get used to it, right? Second year, the ustad sits there on the table, behind the table, and just talks. And you're just looking at him, just waiting for him to take that chalk once, please. Take the chalk and write on the chalkboard. So I write down what she said. You know, a 1, 2, 3, 4, a A, B, C, D. You know, list something for me, so I'd write it down. So we're going to have like 1, 2, 3, 4 here. There's 3 reasons why, if we're going to dissect this fear of death, there's 3 reasons why we have that. Sometimes it's because of ignorance. Sometimes it's because of attachment to certain things that we don't want to lose. Sometimes it's because of what? Because of our sins. Because of our disobedience. I'm going to open these up a little bit, dissect them. When it comes to fear, brothers and sisters, there's 2 types of fear of death. Okay? One is very bad. One is a sign that there's something wrong. One is a sign that there's something good going on. And we have to cultivate that fear actually. It's a sign that your iman level isn't very low. Your iman level is higher than it's supposed to be. Alhamdulillah. So the bad one, the unholy one, has 3 reasons. 1, ignorance. And we have some stories for that. Imam al-Hadi alayhi salam, they ask him about death and stuff, like why? Why do we fear death so much? He says, you don't know what it is. Why is that? He says, if you have all this skin cancer, all these boils on your on your arms and legs and feet, and you're filthy, you're dirty, scars, blood and stuff, and then you take a shower, will you be happy or will you be sad? Happy. He says that's what it is. They say one of his companions was passing away. He was upset, he was afraid, he was fearful. He said, this is what it is, brother. Why fear it? This person had ignorance. Hadi, what he does is says, listen, this is what it is. Let me remove your ignorance for you. Once you don't have ignorance, it's going to be easy. And they say he passed away very easily. And there's a very nice hadith here. It says, "An-nas a'da'u ma jahilu." People are the enemies of what they don't, or of what they are ignorant of. That's why in Islam, Islam keeps pushing us towards ilm, knowledge. Because if you don't have knowledge of something, you're its enemy. If we don't have knowledge of akhirah, if we don't have knowledge of maut and death, if we don't have knowledge of the Prophet, we stay away from them. Because we don't know what it is, we stay away, we fear it. That kills our felicity in the future. You got to get rid of that. We're going to talk about that a little bit in the future. Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam has another analogy here. He says it's like medicine. How the kid doesn't like to take medicine? It's interesting. We think that this example is for today. Imam al-Jawad back then, who was the youngest imam to become imam. Imam al-Jawad, of course, after Imam Mahdi alayhi salam. He says, salawat. It's like medicine. How people run away from it, kids run away from it because they don't know what it is, what it's going to do for them. Yes, it might be a little bit bitter in the beginning, but it does wonders for that kid later on. But he runs away from it. Imam al-Jawad alayhi salam. And that's what we're here for, to get rid of this ignorance a little bit. Because the other 2 that I'm going to talk about have nothing to do with the minbar anymore. The other 2 problems that are that this fear is rooted in have nothing to do with ilm. They have to do with amal. The first, attachment. Someone came to the Prophet, he says, why do I fear death? The Prophet says, do you have wealth? He says, yeah. He says, have you given any of that wealth? Have you sent any of that wealth on the other side for yourself? Invest. Okay? Just like 401k, invest. Long term. Have you or not? If you don't have any money in the bank, do you look forward to going to the bank? To that bank? No, of course not. Right? You have it all here in front of you. You don't want to leave it. Well, of course, anything that's going to separate you from this, brothers and sisters, you don't like it. You fear it. Anything that you feel is going to separate you, you run away from it. Because there's something dear that you're attached to here, and this is going to cut you off from it. Prophet says, send some of it onto the other side, so there's something you look forward to. Okay? When you invest your money into something, what happens? When you invest your money, you want it back, right? Allah says in the Quran, He says, "Man yuqridullah qardan hasanan fayudha'ifahu lahu." Allah says, and it's interesting, He uses the word qard. This might be Urdu too. Do we have qarz in Urdu, which means to loan and lend money? Do we? Allah says, please lend me what you have. SubhanAllah. Allah is bringing Himself down because He cares so much about us. He says, please lend me some money. Lend me something so that I multiply it for you. So now if someone has the right worldview, they know that this, what they're doing, the effort they're investing, the money they're investing, the time they're investing, all of this is in Allah's hands. Allah is their broker. Stockbroker, right? Allah is going to multiply that for them. It all makes sense. But if you haven't sent anything on their side, they have to tear you off of that. Well, you don't want it. You fear it. It's like a band-aid. Okay? The hand has two sides. Okay? But if you put a band-aid on this side, of course for those of us who are very, very hairy, and if you put a band-aid on this side, which one's harder to pull off? This one is harder, right? The one on the side that has hair on it. What if I have already taken care of the hair? This sounds weird, but what if I have taken care of and I don't have hair on this side? I peel the band-aid off, it doesn't hurt. But when there is something attached to my hand and that band-aid sticks on it, when Malikul Maut comes and he says, okay, time to take the band-aid off, you're like, 1 second please, let me tighten everything, every muscle in my body so that, I don't feel it when you're turning. Or go very quick please. Okay? It's not that Malikul Maut is a bad person. It's not that Allah is bad. I'm bad. I did this to myself. Right? Allah had warned me. Not warned me. Allah's not a bad guy. Allah said, listen, the future is coming. This is what the future is like. I'm just letting you know. And not only am I going to let you know, I'm encouraging you to be careful. Just like the same way the dad, when he says, son, you have a future ahead of you. You have to study hard. Does the dad leave it at that? No, the dad says, I told him what's going to happen, but I care for him. I'm going to encourage him. If you get good grades, okay, if it's a boy, I'll get you that, I don't know, coloring book that you always wanted. Or if he's older, I'll get you the touch screen thingy, or whatever you guys have, right? Or like, as they get older, maybe a car I'll get for you. Because he wants them to. If it's a girl, daughter, I'll get you that knitting set or something that you always wanted. Although I think that's kind of out of date and obsolete. Or whatever, right? Whatever, I don't know. He encourages. At the same time he says, son, if you mess up though, if you slack off, it's the other way around. I'm going to punish you. Because that ultimate goal is so important, it's worth it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, listen, I told you what's going to happen on the other side. I encouraged you. I also said I'll punish you if you don't work for it because it's so important. But now when the time comes, if I stuck that band-aid on this side instead of this side, who's to blame? Myself. They told me it's going to happen. They told me that on the other side, there's a tablecloth, and whatever you've put there, you will eat. Alright? This is the Quran telling us. فَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَى. The Quran doesn't say وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ خَيْرًا يَرَى. For example, let me see what a good word is. Yara مثلا ثوابه. Yara jaza'ah. No, it doesn't say that. The Quran doesn't say it like that. The Quran says, whoever does the slightest atom's weight worth of good, they will see it. Not they will see the reward of it. They will see it. So you sent it on the other side. That's what you sent on the other side. وَمَنْ يَعْمَلْ مِثْقَالَ ذَرَّةٍ شَرًّا يَرَهُ. And whoever sends bad will see that what he has sent. Not the punishment of it. This is what you've sent for yourself. That means you don't respect yourself. Right? It's not Allah's fault if we don't respect ourselves. These attachments sometimes will cause this problem. Of course, it doesn't mean having good stuff is bad. Even liking good stuff is bad. It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that at all. But it goes back to the worldview again. Prioritizing these in a way that we compromise the akhirah. We compromise when it comes to haram and wajib. When something is wajib, we don't do it because why? Video games. We compromise the haram because of whatever. I do something wrong because peer pressure. Well, peer pressure is another story. Because I want to be cool. I want to blend in with the rest. Okay? Anyway. That's number 2. Number 3. So number 2, if you pay attention, it doesn't have anything to do with us knowing about death or not. The first one, the fear because of ignorance, we're going to be talking about, so that we get rid of this ignorance to an extent. But fear because of attachment, whether we know or not, is not enough. What goes on their side, we have to get rid of the attachments, the bad attachments. Okay. Once again, I'm emphasizing. Please don't get me wrong. It's okay to have good stuff. It's okay to have a good car. It's okay to have a good living, a good life. It's all right. All right. Allah in the Quran says, "قُلْ مَنْ حَرَّمَ زِينَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي أَخْرَجَ لِعِبَادِهِ." Say to the people, O Prophet, who is that who's making it haram? What Allah, the zinat that Allah has made halal for His people, who's the one who's making it haram? In other words, don't make it haram on the people. Unfortunately, a lot of people think that religiosity means to make all of these things haram in practice. You want to be a good religious person? You have to always hang your head low. When my kid goes to school, he has to look the poorest because we are zahid. That's not the case. Remember yesterday I talked about Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. They said to Imam Sadiq, you're wearing good clothing. Imam Ali wouldn't wear good clothing. What's the difference? Imam Sadiq says, every time has its own circumstances. Imam Ali was Khalifa. When you're Khalifa, it's no joke. You have to be at the lowest level of the people. But when you're living amongst the people as a muballigh, as a person Allah has sent, you're not supposed to do something so that people run away from you. Oh yeah, he's coming to ask him, not the imam, it's like a religious person. We want to go ask him questions, but man, the guy smells so bad, we can't even get close to him. He's had so much garlic in his food that I don't even want to get close to him. Is that how it is? His hair is so messed up, I'm scared to go close to him. Unfortunately nowadays, shaitan's got us, man. Nowadays, the uglier the hair, the cooler. Every hair strand going in one way is cooler. Okay, unfortunately. Now people are fixing up their hair, I see. It's alright. It's alright. It's not haram. It's not haram. I'm just saying, shaitan has us running in circles. Right? I was telling my brother this today, actually. Stuff that was cool 30 years ago is not cool now, interestingly. Not 30 years ago, 15 years ago when I was in high school. Back then, if you dressed the way some people dress today, and it's cool today, you get beat up in school. Or you would get labeled with certain labels I can't say on minbar. Okay? That same stuff, people would laugh at you, point at you, make fun of you, beat you up, put labels on you for, all of a sudden is cool. And the other stuff that was cool back then isn't that cool anymore. Right? I walked into the airport after 12 years. I walked into the airport, I was like, yeah, what's up? And I was like, how come everyone's dressed differently? Shaitan has us running in circles, brothers and sisters. Right? running in circles, and we think that, we're developing, we're getting better and better. What's cool then is not cool now, and then watch, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, the same stuff that was cool now is not cool anymore. Right? But since we don't have the world view, not we, inshallah, them, they care for this. They say, I don't care if it's not cool then and it's cool now. As long as it's cool now, because I am living the moment. Life is good, drink it up. Just do it. Look at the slogans. Look at the slogans. Life is sweet. Stuff like that. You see this all over the ads and everything. Life, every life. Okay, what about that? What about akhirah? Nothing. Live the moment. If it's cool now, it's all good. That's what shaitan does. Has us running in circles. Number 2 on the list was that. These attachments. Number 3 is the guna. Is the sins. Okay? Number 3, and it's the most dangerous of them all. If someone doesn't know what death is all about, it's alright. And he has some attachments, he likes the dunya a little bit, he has fun and stuff, it's alright. As long as you are not disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The key to Jannah, brothers and sisters, this has to be written in gold. Because I'm not saying it. This is from Ahlul Bayt. The key to Jannah is to just not sin. That's it. The wajib and haram. We'll talk about this inshallah a little bit more. Just wajib and haram. One of the great urafa would come to Qum every week, brothers and sisters. I'm letting you in on the secrets. Come to Qum for what? For darsa akhlaq. Come for darsa akhlaq. Who's his audience? Shuyukh. How's the students? They're the ones sitting and listening. Not normal people. Akhlaq lesson. What does he say in his akhlaq lesson? All he stresses on is, listen brothers, wajib, haram. Sisters, wajib, haram. Take care of that, you got the key to Jannah. Don't take care of that, I don't care if on the night of Qadr you destroy yourself. You recite 1,000 rakats of salat. I don't care if you have mustahab fasts every now and then. Allah doesn't care, not me. Who am I? If you're destroying everything because at the same time you're committing some sins, it's no good. We'll talk about it in detail, inshallah, future nights. This great alim, you expect him when he comes for darsa akhlaq to give some secrets to the people. These are shuyukh, these aren't normal people. Hundreds are sitting there. All he keeps stressing on is this. But I already have it. Continue. Continue. Eventually Allah will take your hand and will show you the rest. I have a lot to say there. I don't want to talk about it. Recite salawat, please. Just 2 more stories before I end. One, let's start with Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. Imam al-Hasan had a companion, a good friend, and would see him like every day, they say. And one day, for a little while, he sees that this companion of his is nowhere to be found anymore. And this companion of his was humorous. They say after a while when he saw him, he says, "What's up? Where you been?" His friend says, "I have become in a way that Allah is not happy with me. Shaitan is not happy with me. And I'm not happy with me. None of us are happy. Allah's not happy. Shaitan's not happy. I'm not happy." Okay? And they say Imam smiled, he grinned a little bit because he knew something was coming. Because this friend of his was humorous. But what he said was, Allah is not happy with me because I disobey Him sometimes. Right? Allah wants us not to disobey Him. At the same time, Shaitan is not happy because sometimes I don't listen to him either. I listen to Allah. I'm not happy because I know there's death coming up. I know that all this stuff that's going on is going to end soon. They asked Imam Hasan alayhi salam, this has to do with the sins that I was talking about. They say, why are we afraid of death? in that gathering, they ask him. He says this, his friend has this little joke, and the Imam says, listen, it's because we've destroyed the other side with our sins. Destroyed it. Once again, if you know on the other side, it's just a barren desert. There's nothing waiting for you. Who would like to go to the other side? So anything that's going to take you there, you fear it. You got to get rid of these sins, brothers and sisters. Another story which is interesting too. We have something in Iranian culture which is Mullah Nasruddin, they call him. And I don't know if it's fake or real, or I don't know if it's fiction, non-fiction, but he has funny stories, but there's lessons in it to be there. They say once, and I think it's for real though, I think it's non-fiction. They say he one time went to the graveyard to get, a little bit more spiritual. At night, he goes to the graveyard and he finds a grave that's open and he goes and lays in it to remind himself. There were some of these ulama, brothers and sisters. One of them had seen Imam Zaman. This is like maybe 100 years ago. He's famous to have seen Imam Zaman. He was known for that he would see Imam Zaman a lot. Bahrul Ulum, his name was. They say he had a grave in his backyard. He would go every now and then, lay down in the grave, and then he would recite this verse. رَبِّ ارْجِعُونَ لَعَلِّي أَعْمَلُ صَالِحًا فِي مَا تَرَكْتُ. Oh Allah, there's a verse in the Quran quoting those disbelievers when they put them in the grave, when they see the akhirah, they say, Oh Allah, irja'oon, Rabbi irja'oon, Oh Allah, Oh Lord, return me to the world. Now that I know what's going on, I see I haven't made any investments. Send me back so that I can make some investments. Rabbi irja'oon la'alli, so that maybe I can a'malu salihan fima tarak. Do something good, which I didn't before. They said, Mullah Nasruddin, he went to the graveyard at night, he laid down in a grave. While he was there though, the problem is, a caravan was passing by. The caravan was passing by, and they had horses and everything. They say he got up from the grave so that they wouldn't step on him or something. And he stepped on the horses, the horseshoes or their tails or whatever. This caravan went wild. Some dead dude just jumps up in front of you. Right? And everyone started running left and right. He's like, don't worry, I'm alive, I'm alive. That's what they're afraid of. You're alive, that's the problem. You were dead, but now you're alive. I'm alive. So anyway, eventually he's able to calm them down. He's like, listen, when they find out this guy wasn't dead and alive, he was alive and alive, they beat him up. Right? They jump him. He goes back home all beat up and torn up. And then his wife's like, so how was death? He says, death is good. As long as you don't step on people's feet. Right? Brothers and sisters, death is good as long as you don't step on Allah's toes, Allah's feet. These sins will cause problems. Okay? Inshallah, future nights, we're going to get into more detail. These two nights were introductory. Inshallah, more practical and more facts about this whole death, inshallah. Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. Today was the 2nd of Muharram. And on the 2nd of Muharram, as we all know, the caravan of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam arrives in Karbala. But they didn't want to come to Karbala. They weren't planning to come to Karbala. They were going for Kufa. At least let Imam Hussein reach Kufa and kill him there. Don't let him die in the desert all alone. But no, Ibn Ziyad knows that if Imam Hussein makes it to Kufa, it's very dangerous. So he sends Hur ibn Yazid to cut Imam al-Hussein off and to keep him there until he gives his bay'ah or they do something else. This army of 1,000 soldiers, 1,000 horseback on horseback, reach Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. They say, and they stop there. They say, Imam Hussein, we have orders to stop you here. You cannot move towards Kufa. Imam Hussein says, let me go then back to Medina. You're the ones who forced me to come out of Medina in the first place. Okay, if you're not letting me come to Kufa, let me go back to Medina. No, you cannot go back to Medina. I can't go to Kufa. I can't go to Medina. What do? Just walk in the desert. Imam Hussein knows it's getting closer and closer to the prophecy of the Prophet that Hussein, one day you're going to have to fulfill your covenant with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's getting closer and closer. You can tell that Imam Hussein, he's not running from his faith, but at the same time, brothers and sisters, Imam al-Hussein has brought the women and children. That's the problem. He's brought his Adin al-Asghar. He's brought a 3-year-old. There's other kids. The children of Muslim are orphans. Who's going to take care of them? So they take another route until they reach a land, La ilaha illallah, a land that prophets have visited, Imams have visited, Imam Ali has foretold and seen. Imam Ali has said that this will be a land where lovers will fall. When this army arrives, Imam Hussein goes and gives them water. I don't know why people don't learn from Imam al-Hussein. When Muslim ibn Aqil was killed, he came and he took care of the orphans of Muslim. People didn't learn. Then when there's an orphan, you don't hit that orphan. You don't tear that orphan's earrings off. You stroke her head. You stroke his head. You don't let the kid's blouse, the kid's clothing to be on fire. You turn off the fire. You don't trample the kids with the horses, trying to get to the tents to see what you can loot. That's one lesson they didn't learn, Hussein. Why do you keep teaching lessons to these people? They're not going to learn. Hussein says, I have to do my duty. This army is thirsty. Hussein goes and gives them water. He doesn't give them only water. He gives their horses water. But they don't learn. When he raises Adin al-Asghar in front of the army, all they can do is quench the baby with his own blood. There's lots of pains in Karbala, brothers and sisters. One pain that kills a warrior, that kills an imam, kills Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas, is when you step on their ghira. That's why when they reach Karbala and Imam Hussein asks, what is the name of this land? They say Nainawa, Ghadiriya, all these different names. When they reach Karbala and they say this is Karbala, Imam Hussein says, A'udhu billah min al-karbi wal bala. This is where we have to pitch our tents. And that's where they come down. That's when they come down. But Zainab wants to come down from the camel. Zainab wants to come down. Bani Hashim will let non-mahram see Zainab? No. Abu al-Fadl Abbas will die, but will not let that happen. They rush, oh Zainab, please honor me by putting your foot on my knee and coming down from the camel. Ali al-Akbar comes, says, no, let the honor be with me. It's as if they're arguing. I'm not saying they were arguing. I'm saying it's as if they're racing for this. Subhanallah. La ilaha illallah. On Ashura, after they're done with Hussein, when Lady Zainab puts these children on the camels one by one, the women, she helps them go one by one. All of a sudden, she turns around and looks to the left and right. No more Abbas to help Zainab climb the camel's back. No more Akbar to put his knee out for her to climb the back of the camel. Sallallahu alaykum ya Ahl Bayt al-Nubuwah. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون. صلوات.